It's Thursday night. That means we've got Puppy School question and answer. Tonight's topic is dog body language. We've had quite a few questions come in. I'm going to answer those and add in some extra information along the way. Okay, so a really good place to start with looking at body language is at the ladder of aggression. So you might think, crikey, we're talking about aggression with puppies. Well, we're not really, but what we're doing is we are starting to teach you some of the early warning signs that puppies will give if they're ever so slightly uncomfortable with the situation. If you can recognise the really early warning signs that your puppy or adult dog is uncomfortable with something, then you can avoid the situation from escalating. You can change the situation, do something about it to make your dog feel a bit happier about life. So at the bottom of the ladder, we've got a relatively relaxed dog, and as you go up the rungs, the behaviours go towards the red behaviours, which are the more serious ones, so growling, snapping and biting being at the very top. So the aim of this exercise is really to start to get you to think about recognising those really early warning signs that the dog's slightly uncomfortable. So if your dog's doing like yawning, blinking, lip licking, perhaps turning their head away. Now this has all got to be seen in context. Very, very important with body language. You might go, well, my dog just yawned. Well, it might have just woken up. It's not quite the same as if it's yawning in response to a social situation. So you've got to look at absolutely everything in context. This is just a snapshot into dog body language. We could go really much deeper into this topic, but we're just giving you a light version for this Facebook question and answer. One of the behaviours we're going to look at in a little bit more detail is a behaviour called lip licking. So you can see in this picture the tongue is coming out and flicking over the dog's nose. So if you have a look at this next video clip here, this is a little Tig puppy out this morning. She's lip licked once, and again there, and again there. So we're just going to look at that video clip again from the beginning. So you can see her tail is also down. She's looking at something. 1 lip lick, 2 lip licks, 3. So it means something's bothering her there, not quite relaxed. One of the questions we've had is from Gemma saying, "Hi Louise, when Evie is excited she licks everyone. If I move my hands or face away she continues to lick the air. Her tail is constantly wagging. I'd like to try to stop her licking, but I don't want to be mean by stopping her if she's trying to be nice." Okay, so Gemma's actually sent us some videos of Evie, so I'm able to share with you what is going on. So yawn straight away, lip licking, and the ears are pulled back. So these are all signs that she possibly finds the amount of hands-on attention she's getting a little bit overwhelming. So she's kind of enjoying it and kind of not enjoying it all at the same time. So what I would recommend doing is a sort of consent test for being touched. So you can all do this with your dogs at home. 3 seconds of touching, and then you can pause to see if they want you to carry on or not. Now keep it really light in places that they like to be touched, so down the back or on the chest typically. And we want to look out for any signs of appeasement or avoidance, so lip licking or yawning, that sort of thing. So what you can do when you're touching your pups, when you're giving them a little stroke, do it for a couple of seconds and then pause. So a few seconds and then stop. And your puppy will let you know if they want you to carry on or not, but it also gives them the opportunity to move away should they wish. So a few seconds of gentle stroking and then pause. And if they remain with you, you can carry on a little gentle stroke and pause. Next, we're going to look at a couple of pictures, and it's like spot the difference almost. So you see the difference between a completely relaxed dog to a dog that is far less relaxed in a relatively short space of time. So looking at the dog on the left, this is Tally, my little German Spitz. She's showing nice relaxed body language, and we can look in more detail. We see her ears are forward, her eyes are relaxed, there's no tension in the face at all. The mouth is nice and soft and open but gently. Can't see any whites of the eyes at all. Now in a snapshot later, Doberman has done something to annoy her and warrant a tell-off. So we can see the ears of Tally have gone back, the eyes have widened, the teeth are out. You can see the whites of the eyes as well. And there's a lot of tension in the face. And we've got another video of little Evie, and this time we're looking at how she gets on with other dogs. So this is something a lot of people are worried about at the moment, is how to socialise with other dogs. You need to make sure that your dogs are nice and relaxed in the right situations. So if we look at this video together, I'll talk you through what's going on. Okay, so low body language from Evie on the left, slight rollover, very appeasing, exposing of the stomach. So that would indicate that she's not entirely comfortable with meeting another dog. Naz is a bit further on in the interaction. Still fairly low in body language, quite slinky. So you see tail is down, it is waggling, but wagging tails aren't always a sign of a happy dog. She's much happier when she's behind. Tail comes up a bit there. So looking at that video with Evie with another dog, I think she looks a little bit unsure about greeting initially. She rolls over onto her side, exposes her tummy. She's saying, look, I'm not a threat. Please don't beat me up. Don't be mean to me. I'm just a little baby. And the other dog is going in and having a nice sniff and remaining nice and fluid. As the interaction goes on, in the second clip, we can see that Evie is playing with the other dog, but she's on the more on the cautious side. So her body language is still fairly low. She's much happier when the other dog's in front and she's running behind. You can see she perks up a bit more, her tail comes up, her whole demeanour sort of comes up a little bit. So what I would do with her is make sure that you keep interactions fairly short and sweet, make sure that she knows that you're there for her so she can come back to you for a bit of security should she need it. And give her some praise while she's there. She looks like she's doing all right. Just make sure that if she gets overwhelmed or worried that you call her back and keep her near to you. Give her a bit of fuss and a bit of praise for staying safe with you. The next question we've had is from a different Gemma. Do you find dogs sometimes struggle to read certain breeds, such as sled dogs and Spitz dogs with their upright tails, or breeds with no tails, or brachial breeds with scrunched up faces? So brachial breeds are things like French bulldogs, pugs, Boston terriers, British bulldogs, those sorts of things, or mastiffs as well, so dogs that have got wrinkly faces. So wrinkly faces are quite difficult to read if a puppy or dog is not used to seeing them. So if a normal, regular, long-snouted faced dog, so say a Labrador, if they're uncomfortable with a situation, they might raise their lips up, they might expose their teeth, and that will scrunch the whole face up, put wrinkles on the face. Now, when a pug, Frenchie, or Boston, or Bulldog, or Mastiff, when they're relaxed, they've got those wrinkles. So for a dog that doesn't really know the breeds very well, they haven't had much exposure, that wrinkle on the face can be quite frightening because they think, goodness me, they are scrunching their face up. And that can be quite alarming for a puppy that hasn't met a variety of breeds. The other thing with the flat-faced dogs is their breathing. So if a dog with a longer nose is trying to give a bit of a warning, they might growl or make some sort of vocalization. Now, when the squishy-faced dogs breathe normally, they can make some funny noises, and that can spook puppies that haven't had good enough socialization with a variety of breeds. So yes, when it comes to when it comes to faces, very important they meet a variety of breeds from a young age, otherwise they can find it a bit concerning. And also those breeds of the flat faces tend to be quite stocky and stiff in their bodies generally as well. So really important that we try and get our puppies to meet a variety of breeds so they know that those dogs are just being nice and friendly as well. Nothing to be scared about. So the other bit was about tails. So tails with dogs is a minefield. Don't rely on tails to give you much information. Sometimes when dogs are relaxed, their tails curl up and over their bodies. So 3 out of our 5 dogs are sort of Spitzy type dogs or pugs. So our pug, when she's relaxed, her tail goes up and over her back. Same with the Spitz and same with the Pom. With the Doberman, if her tail goes up and over her back, then that's usually a sign of quite high arousal. So not relaxed in the slightest. For her, when she's more relaxed, her tail comes down from her back in more of that sort of shape. So you need to know your breeds to be able to recognise what a tail is telling you. And you don't want to just rely on the tail, you want to look at the whole body. Body language you've got to see in context, you've got to look at the dog as a whole, don't hone in on one part. So some dogs don't even have tails, some dogs are born without tails, and some dogs have them removed for aesthetics, unfortunately, or sometimes if they're working breeds they'll get them docked as well. So tails are massively unreliable. A wagging tail doesn't necessarily indicate a happy dog. That was a question that we've had from Cheryl. Is a wagging tail always a sign of a happy dog? No, sometimes. Yep, sometimes it means the dog's happy, but the rest of the body will be super fluid as well, and the dog will be really relaxed and there's free from tension in the face, be really soft and happy. But also a dog that's in a high state of arousal, so tail quivering at the end can be misinterpreted as a wagging tail, or apprehensive, bit of side to side, low. Lots of different ways that tails can wag, and they're about as genuine as a human smile. So sometimes people smile, it's not completely genuine, they're just smiling because they're saying smile. So don't rely on tails to mean that the dog is happy. Do not teach your children that wagging tails equal happy dogs, because it's not always true. You want to look at the rest of the body and make sure it's free from tension, nice and relaxed, and if the whole body is wiggling and the tail's going, you're probably okay. But if the base of the tail is tense, the end of the tail is quivering, absolutely get away from that dog, give it some space. It's the opposite of happy. It's likely to be in a high state of arousal, you need to back off a little bit. So tails, what a minefield. Another behaviour we're just going to look at is a tap out. So that there is a tap out when the dog flips over onto its back, exposing its tummy. If your puppy does this, I would suggest that you wait for them to right themselves before carrying on with a fuss. So it's their way of saying, actually, could you slow down a bit? It's really conflicting to look at, because you think, God, the dog's having a lovely time, but every time you touch them, they flip over onto their backs. They're just saying, oh, it's a bit much. So exposing their tummies means that they want a little bit of social distance, just a tiny bit, and then they're okay again. Okay, in this clip I'd like you to look at the yellow Labrador, sniffing over there. She's new to the household. She's met this dog a couple of times, but not in such an enclosed space. So we're going to watch it again. So as the other dog turns away, she follows him. And he turns around to face her. She goes very, very still, and that's called a freeze. She also accompanies that with a growl. If we look at the black dog, there's a little scratch, a shake off, and he moves away. Now when she freezes, he goes, oh my God, and turns his head away. That's called a head turn, and he's trying to diffuse the situation because he's gone, crikey, she looks a bit tense, I'm just going to look over here and then get away. So the last clip we looked at with the yellow lab and the black dog showed you the higher end of the ladder of aggression. So we started off looking at the lower level behaviours, so dogs slightly uncomfortable, lip licking, ears back, moving away, that kind of thing. And then we looked more towards behaviours where they're a little bit more uncomfortable, so tap out, and talking about tails as well, and facial features. And then this last clip we finished with is a dog that's got quite tense over a situation. Now it's diffused really easily, so this sort of thing happens with dogs all the time, with people and with other dogs. So the yellow Labrador was quite tense, the black dog reacted completely appropriately and diffused the situation by turning away. If he had decided to continue to stare at her or remained where he was, that tension would have built, and then the yellow Labrador may have been forced into doing a higher rung behaviour, so snapping perhaps, or even biting. So that situation was diffused by the black dog very quickly by just going, oh, no, and turned his head. Done, sorted. And that alleviated the situation. So I hope you've enjoyed this little snapshot. I'm going to end it there because actually there's a lot to take in with dog body language. And like I said earlier, we could cover this for, probably a week of learning every day. So I'm going to keep it fairly short and sweet so that you can take in what we've discussed just now and process that. If you have any further questions, do let us know. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely Thursday evening. Stay safe, everybody, and take care. Bye.